The Golden Knights, ladies and gentlemen, are here. Thank you very much. The US Army four-way team, and you are here at the Outdoor World Cup in Töger. And you took the time to speak to our audience all over the world. Thank you very much for doing that. And maybe you want to introduce yourself to begin with. You know, who are you as a team? And you're obviously representing the United States of America at its best on the top. But maybe an introduction, let's begin it with the names and the official team name and all that. How about with Skylar?
Yeah, so I'm Staff Sergeant Skylar Romberg, here with the Army Golden Knights four-way team.
I'm Sergeant First Class Michael Connors.
Sergeant First Class Jesse Soller.
Sergeant First Class Mitch Stockenberg.
Sergeant First Class Nicholas Parker.
Thank you. And again, the Golden Knights are here. You're here to compete at the FAI World Cup, and you are in contention here. You know, because the US teams are always the best in the world, but you are on your way to winning the next. This competition here, or trying to win. And then you will go to the next big competition, which is your national championship, and then you will go to the CISM Military World Championship in Qatar. So we'll talk about this later. But let's talk about the history of the Golden Knights to begin with. You are actually the longest team project or skydiving project probably in the world at the moment. Who can give us a little breakdown of the history quickly? Jesse, team captain?
Sure, yeah. Well, the team started in 1959, and at that time it wasn't known as the Golden Knights, it was known as the Strategic Army Air Corps Sports, and that stood for STRAC, or had an acronym, and in 61 it was branded the United States Army Parachute Team, the Golden Knights. We got the nickname then. Since then we kind of were up front, a competition team that slowly began doing demonstrations all around the nation of America, and through the evolutions, through the decades, we became kind of the ambassadors for Army recruiting, trying to connect the Army, America's Army with the American public.
So you are, being the oldest part of the oldest military parachuting team, do you feel like you are now kind of the elder statesman of in skydiving or in the parachuting in your military system? And do you see that you may try or will inspire younger teams to join the US Army and become the Golden Knights? I mean, everybody knows you in the US. Nobody doesn't know what Golden Knights is. You know, it's a young team. Is that, do you feel like this is a part of your job and your presentation of what you do?
Right. Well, I was just going to say legacy. I think that's one thing unique about what we have with the Golden Knights is that we are part of, as you said, a world-class legacy of competitors and demonstrators that came before us and made the name what it is today. I don't think there's any institution or group within the skydiving community that has quite the family that we do. And it's an honor to be part of. Every other year we have a reunion. And we get to hear all the stories from teammates back from yesteryears. And yeah, you don't represent yourself, and I think that's what's really I don't know. It's contagious and it's exciting to be around, having the quality of alumni that we do.
So on one hand, it is like being a part of this institution, and then on the other hand, you still have the excitement for jumping out of planes and enjoying the actual element, right? I mean, it's natural, I would say. You're here to outscore or defeat all the civilian teams on the planet, the best civilian teams on the planet. Some of the teams here are also military lineups. We know our friends from Belgium, you know, the Hayabusa team is also a military team, and then the team from Spain is a military. So you meet them again this year later on in Qatar for the CISM World Championship. Do you know the team that will compete for Qatar there? So they will have a team, their own team. You've met them. What is your um, contact or your relationship with them? Are you close? Are you friends? Are they your opponents? Or what kind of relationship do you have with them?
So Kirk, we've competed against Qatar Tigers in the past.
Yeah.
I don't personally know them on a personal level, but they are very talented and skilled flyers, and we know that they've recently transitioned to training SISM style jumps only, so we expect them to put up big numbers this year in Qatar in November. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing them there.
Yeah, they're specialized one team, right? The Tigers are specialized only on SISM routes. Now you're doing two different sets of rules actually, and while they are focusing only on what they need to be good at to beat you. They have another team that goes to the civilian championships, but only the Tigers are going to. Do you have time to practice actually for the military format?
So we have about 3 days.
Kind of on hand.
Okay, so that answers that. But then the dive pools, the maneuvers and all that at least are the same.
Yeah, luckily SISM takes away from the FAI dive pool, doesn't add really to it, aside from the elusive R. So as long as we work that into our minds and our mental game, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and you can practice all that stuff, while you're practicing the military dive ball. So you've known the Qatar teams for a while. Do you think that you, as the Golden Knights U.S. Army institution, and being around, kind of inspire the Qatar teams also to, whether it's athletically that they have to do their best to beat you, or because they look up to you as role models, because you're working yourself up to the top position in the world? What do you think? What's that? Will they look up at you, or try to beat you, or what's the purpose of?
I think it's a little bit of both, Kirk. Skydiving is unique in that we all are, competing against one another. However, there is a camaraderie that happens amongst the teams, that we all kind of take bits and pieces of admiration for one another, and it creates a bond amongst the teams that I think is unique with skydiving.
Yeah, and you see each other more often because you and the Belgian team, you have trained together. You are at other same events, so the Qatar Tigers are not so much around any longer by now. But although they have been actually around for longer than you, so it should be the other way around. So have you ever thought about this? That the Qatar Tigers is a team that is longer together than a decade. So have you ever thought about? Do you have role models? In fact, other teams where you feel like, or is it all like former Golden Knights that you would like to copy, or with the success? And
I think to Nick's point, I think this is very much an international sport, and we certainly have our the legends that came from the decades before us, the styles, the videos that you watch and you debrief and you try to imitate in your own training, and yeah, that doesn't know the limit of just your nation. Certainly there are people throughout the world. I think Andy Grohls is one name that comes to mind. He's been working with the Tigers this year for that SISM team, and he's just so quick and small, and just his temperament. It's just something that I've always attempted to get at the very highest level. So I think we all have our own example of that in some way.
so being involved in all the areas, military, civilian competition, demos, I guess. Are you involved, or is it all for the demo team in the U.S. Army? Do you have to do demos? Go to events?
Yeah, we do also do demos. It's not our main priority, but we'll occasionally help out the demo teams. We'll send one or two of us out to go with them.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll put on our own demos if there's no demo teams available.
Well, what is your preference, your personal? What do you like the most of it? Is it demo with the spectators and audience, public places? Is it military competition where you meet, the same soldiers or committed people to your purpose, or is it the civilian crowd that you meet at an event like this here?
I think in general for our team, we love to compete. That's our primary passion. When it comes to competition, I personally like the civilian open competitions because then you get both sides. You get the military teams and you get the civilian teams. You're competing against the absolute best in the world, and that's what motivates us on a day-to-day basis. And what's nice is when we get the opportunity to go help out with the demos, because then we get a little bit of a taste of the demo experience, but we love competing.
I mean, we are glad to have you here because then we get you as a part of this civilian. If it was all military, I wouldn't be there, or all the other teams here wouldn't be able to see you. So yeah, it's a nice mixture. Thanks for saying that. I think that's a great point. So the demos, when you're out at the demos, do you enjoy being in front of the crowds? Like when they're cheering, there's international crowds, domestic crowds.
It's very rewarding, very rewarding. Jumping in front of a bunch of kids with huge smiles on their faces, cheering and yelling. I think everybody sitting in front of you right now aspires to inspire the future generations of not only skydivers, but potentially anybody that's looking to join the Army when they get older. Just having kids come up to you and give me a high five after jumping is something very special.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. Do you see the demo performances as a way to promote air sports as a whole? Does it bring people into our element?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think anytime that you can spread awareness of the sport, it's going to help pull in people to see the competition side.
It's also the accessibility, right? When you go to the people, you're bringing the sport to their doorstep. I think that's what's unique about just demonstrations at large. I would say as a sport internationally, the rate in which parachuting demos has increased is exponential. When people maybe that would never have seen a parachute otherwise, now suddenly sees that at a local sports game or for maybe an opening ceremony of something. So I think it's just becoming a little bit more common and a unique way to reach the marketing masses for whatever you're trying to tell them.
Do you feel when you have compared the civilian competition and the military competition that there's some kind of a difference in the atmosphere? Like is one maybe more disciplined and the other one is more casual or anything like this? What are your experiences with that? Not everybody, not all the teams compete at civilian events. You do. Hayabusa does. The Qatar Tigers have. So the two different formats, the military format and the civilian. Is there any difference? I mean, I will find out probably this year. But
so I would say that the biggest difference between the military and the civilian competitions is just uniformity. Whereas the military teams, they all have uniforms. It's very structured. Everybody shows the same equipment. Civilian side, you see a little bit more variation. However, at the end of the day, people are people. So when we go to a civilian competition versus a military competition, it's very similar in atmosphere because we're all skydiving, we're all enjoying it, we're all loving what we're doing. And like I said, people are people.
Yeah, and that's also good to hear, and that is very true. We're all in the same boat, actually, on this planet eventually. So you've medaled at major events. International, national. What do you think for you so far in the history of this specific lineup? Which one has been your greatest achievement at this point?
I would say it's the one we're currently at. We're 4 rounds in, and we're having a great competition as a team. We have our own goals that are in our own metrics, serving kind of as our guide whether we're successful or not. Right now, we feel pretty happy with what we've been able to do. We've got more goals on the horizon, so we're certainly not done, and we're looking forward to the 2026 World Meet.
Okay, so let's talk about the final event of the year now. Concretely, you are going to Qatar for the CISM World Championship. One of the purposes of they're building a museum of air sports there. You know, we talked about this earlier here. The same as the US is doing in Florida. So you are building, or Qatar is building a similar historic, you know, to cover the history of the sport. It is supposed to offer up information about air sports to the general public to show that they are serious international competitive events. Do you have any thoughts about how to get the public more interested in competitive air sports as spectator events? I mean, it sounds like, you know, they are planning to bring this event, the CISM World Championship this year in Qatar, seems to be a very public event. You know, like you remember when we went to Dubai long ago, you know, they had a large crowd there actually attracted to the event. Sounds the same. So, do you have any ideas how to attract you? You know, you're more familiar than others with demos, and how to make the public and the kids happy when they come. You know, and they're getting excited.
I think first and foremost, the easiest way to make it more attractive to the public would be to figure out the live feed scenario, to where somebody on the ground could watch a screen and see the jump that's happening real time. Now, whether that's the footage that the judges would use or not, you know, that's something, I guess, for them to figure out. But right now, standing on the ground, it's difficult to look up and see what's actually happening until the competitors are under canopies. They really don't get to see what's happening.
And then landing, after watching it live, you know, on the screen or whatever, then landing, then coming to the kids who just saw you. Oh, what did you do there? You know, and then that would be a different dynamic. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
I also think the tunnels and tandems, like having people experience what it is. I think one of the reasons why basketball or football is so popular is because you played that as a kid. So you actually played the sport that you're watching. There's a lot more respect for the high level of play. So just increasing people's exposure to it will help their interest levels.
Okay. Thank you very much. The Golden Knights of the US Army, who are a top contender here at this competition and who will travel to Qatar in November to win, or December, November, to win the CISM World Championship. Thank you very much for being here and answering all these questions, and good luck with everything at the events that you're attending this year.
Thank you.